Like many Australian families, most weekends are filled with sport, birthday parties and grocery shopping. Going to a party on a Friday night can sometimes hinder the smooth running of a Saturday commitments. Of course, that is exactly what happened. A close friend of ours was celebrating his 40th birthday and David and I had to help him. Needless to say, it was a big night, followed by a major hangover. Alex was to play netball and then she was invited to a birthday party. I had to do some grocery shopping at some stage. David needed to mow the lawn and finish some paperwork. All I really wanted was a sleep. Reid spent the day riding his bike up and down our back lane, and each time I returned home he complained of his leg hurting. By 7 p.m. that night, I sat him up on the kitchen bench to have a look at his sore leg. I was quite surprised to see the difference in the size of his legs. His right shin was very swollen and the skin had a tight look to it. It didn't look like an infection, yet it was warm to touch. David had a look and we agreed to take Reid to St Vincent's emergency department in the morning if the swelling was still there. My sister Lissa was on her way from Taroom through to Brisbane and dropped in later that Saturday evening, and I showed her Reid's leg as he slept soundly. "I don't have a good feeling about it," I told her. The following morning I was anxious to check Reid's leg. He is a great little sleeper, so I waited for him to wake up and I didn't make a fuss when examining his leg. It looked more swollen. We decided I would take him up to St Vincent's, as Monday was going to be such a busy day that there'd be no way we could take time off work to take Reid to our GP. The doctor on duty introduced himself as Andrew, and I thought this was quite an informal way to address a doctor. Both my parents had brought me up to have the utmost respect for anyone in the medical fraternity, so I couldn't help introducing him to Reid as Dr. Andrew. After I gave a brief description of Reid's leg, he had a look and a feel, then suggested an x-ray. The x-ray was quick and easy and Reid loved all the attention. We returned to the emergency department and waited for Dr. Andrew's analysis. This took a lot longer than I thought, but I wasn't worried. After all, time seems irrelevant in doctors' waiting rooms, let alone emergency departments. When Reid was 11 months old, he was diagnosed with streptococcus. He had spent what seemed like hours going from one test to another. Then on another occasion when Reid was 2, having realised he could walk and jump and run with ease, he decided to jump off the top of our lounge. He landed badly, breaking his left collarbone. After an hour of waiting for an examination room, as I desperately tried to keep a 2-year-old entertained, x-rays confirmed the break and we were told to keep him still for 6 weeks. On the eve of the 6th week, he did it again. Finally, Dr. Andrew returned without the x-ray. He looked concerned and avoided eye contact with me. He was focused in on Reid's leg. He was looking closely at his shin bone and asked how long Reid had been feeling this pain. I told him about the train trip from Maitland to Sydney earlier in the year and then the fun run earlier in the week. Dr. Andrew nodded again and expressed his concern. "I think we need to have a closer look at Reid. Something has come up on the x-ray and I'd like an orthopaedic surgeon on call to have a look. I also think it would be a good idea to involve a paediatrician, so I've called him in also." I was numb and very quiet. "Oh, okay," I said, and I had thought it was just an infected splinter.